Lovely. Okay, we are recording. All right, so what we want to do then is we want to use the fact that x plus 3 is a factor, right? Well, if that's true, if x plus 3 is a factor, then one of the zeros is negative 3, right? We can right away know that fact. And then we also are told that 2 is a 0, okay? So 2 is a 0. Now, the question is, there are two others. Now, how do I know there's two others? Can someone tell me how we know that? How do we know there's 4 total? Go ahead. Perfect, yeah. Since the degree is 4, right? The degree is 4. That means that there are going to be 4 total zeros, okay? So let's take the original polynomial and let's divide out the factors that we already know, and then we'll be left with something that we can find the zeros of, okay? So let's start with 1, negative 4, negative 18, 23, and 42, with a negative 3 up in the corner. Now, it would be totally fair for you to also start with the 2 in the corner. That would be fine. Whether or not you start with the negative 3 or the 2 does not matter. All right, let's go through this slowly, okay? Bring the 1 down. That's our first new coefficient. Then multiply these. That gives us negative 3. Add down. That gives us negative 7. Multiply these. That gets us 21. Add down. That gets us 3. Multiply these. That gets us negative 9. Add down gets us 14. Almost done. Negative 3 times 14 is negative 42. Add down, we get 0. Good, we expected that to happen, right? Because x plus 3 is a factor and negative 3 is a 0, we expected a remainder of 0. Now, this means that x to the third minus 7x squared plus 3x plus 14 is what's left. And unfortunately, that's too big to factor, right? That's factoring a third degree is going to be too hard for us. So we've got to do synthetic again using the other 0 that we've been given, okay? So let's now put 2 in the corner and use these new coefficients with synthetic, okay? Would you all do it, please, while I freeze the screen, and then we'll check our answers? Rowan, welcome. Thanks for joining Zoom. Just look at the assignment sheet for the warm-up and do all your work on a separate sheet of paper, and then at the end of the block, I'm going to have you send me a picture of everything that you do in class. Veronica, can you tell us what you got? Beautiful. Let me unfreeze. I got the same thing. So now that's the thing that we can now work with to find the remaining zeros, right? We could factor it, right? But it doesn't factor. There's nothing that multiplies to 7 and adds to negative 5. So our other option is right here, use synthetic division and the quadratic formula to find all the zeros. So let's do quadratic formula, okay? Hannah, what's A, B, and C? Great, okay. Now, if you know that and you know the quadratic formula, we're going to be good to go. So here we go. It's opposite b, that's 5, plus or minus the square root of b squared. Well, b squared is 25. And then minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. Okay, yes?
Wait, why don't we just use the negative 3 instead of the 2, like for synthetic division?
Oh, I have to do it twice, right? Because we started with a 4th degree, and we want to get that all the way down to a 2nd degree so that we can actually use quadratic formula. So whether or not you start with the negative 3 or the 2, either one is fine, but you have to do synthetic twice because you're given 2 pieces of information. Okay? Yeah, Veronica.
So if there's like x, well, since it's x to the 4th, we always have to do it twice.
Yes.
And this wouldn't be possible if they didn't give us 2 zeros.
Right, exactly. I have to give you enough hints for us to be able to get it down to be a quadratic. Okay? Ali?
Let's just say that there was it was x to the 6th So there'd be 6 zeros.
Yeah, exactly. And that means I'd have to give you 4 hints. I would never do that to you, but yeah. In fact, I don't even do one this hard on the final. On the final, the hardest one is the 3rd degree. So how does it work? You get a 3rd degree, I give you 1 hint, and then now you're down to a quadratic, and you can either factor it or use quadratic formula. Okay, we'll practice that more today, because the focus of today is all the topic 3 stuff. Okay, all right, so what is 25 minus 4 times 1 times negative 7? I get 53. And we love it when this happens because 53 is prime. That means no simplifying, no big mess we have to make. Now we know all the zeros, right? The 2 zeros from the beginning were negative 3 and 2, and now the 2 remaining zeros are 5 plus or minus root 53 over 2, okay? So I'm just going to write that, 5 plus or minus root 53 over 2, and that gets us all of our zeros. Make sense? Questions? I'll give you another one of these on the back when we're done with this whole warm-up, okay? Let me give you some hints on 2, and I want you to try it on your own. Make a sketch of this. I want to have you notice 3 things. First of all, identify what the zeros are. There are 3 of them. Identify their multiplicities. Notice how the end behavior is going to be affected by that leading coefficient. So because we've got a negative leading coefficient, the end behavior is going to be, let's talk about that. The degree is 2 plus 1 plus 3. So the degree is 6. That means this thing is going to, on the end, it's going to open downward, right? It's going to be doing something like that and something like that on the ends. Okay? So see what you can do. Talk to your partner, figure this out, see if you can make a sketch. I'll freeze and we'll compare in just a second. You add them to get the total degree. Right? So it's 2 plus 1 plus 3. There's a 1 there. Even since there's no number there, that's to be a 1.
Yeah, so I just don't know. Because it came to us. Yeah. But then there's what?
Okay, we done? Okay, let's go with Emma. Emma, tell me what the zeros are. Good job. -4, 1, and 3. Ali, tell me what the multiplicities are. You're right, 2, 1, and 3. Good job, good job. And then here is the full story. Okay, so let me unfreeze. There it is. That's what it looks like. How did you do? Okay, so how did I get the sketch? Well, I know because this is an even multiplicity, right? That means it's going to bounce off the axis right there, right? Even multiplicity means bounce. The odd multiplicity means it's going to go through, kind of acting like a line. And the odd multiplicity that's 3 means it's going to go through but act like a cubic, right? It's going to do that little squiggle. Now, how do I know that it opens down on both ends? Okay, that's another piece. Well, that's because of that negative leading coefficient I talked about. See? We know that there are those 4 options, right? It's either like this, or like that, like this, or like this, you know? And this one has the case where it's even but negative. This is the situation. So we're starting low, we bounce at -4, go through at 1, and then squiggle at 3. Go ahead.
So like whatever the multiplicity is, that's what you do. Like for that 0, that's what you do.
You got it. Whatever the multiplicity is, that's what you do for that 0. Exactly. Yep. What else? Good? There's a chat. Hang on. Okay, multiplicities. Yeah, the multiplicities are just the powers on each factor, right? So you see x plus 4 to the second, the multiplicity is 2. You see x plus 4 to the 8th, the multiplicity is 8. And that tells us how the graph's going to behave at that 0. Make sense? Got questions? Yep.
You don't have to know, but like today, you go over what each multiplicity does.
Absolutely. That'll be today. Yeah, today's our focus is on chapter 3. All right. Cool. Okay. Let's take another look at the final exam schedule just so we're all clear about that. Okay. So here it is. I've got it linked on my sheet. You can find it on the general Glenbrook site if you want. So there it is. Everyone's clear on this. And our exam is on Wednesday. Why isn't it letting me scroll down? Come on. Still loading. There we go. Okay. So Monday through Thursday, we're starting at 8 every day. You're done at 11:15, or don't show up at all if you don't have an exam, right? Like you don't need to be in the building if you don't have an exam. Any questions on all that? Okay, cool. They're all an hour and a half. You have to stay for the whole block. You can't leave. Bring something to read or something because I'm not going to let you be on your phone or Chromebook. Phones are going to be in the back. Chromebooks are going to be in the bag. Sorry. Yes. Of course. Other questions? All right. So what I want to do is stop this recording for a second so the warm-up part is done.